I want my life into waiting together, waiting for you. When I'm around, slow dancing in the dark. Don't follow me, you'll end up in my arms. You done made up your mind, I don't need no more signs. Can you? Can you? Give me reasons we should be complete. You should be with him, I can't compete. You looked at me like I was someone else. Oh, how can't you see? I don't wanna slow dance in the dark. When you gotta run, just hear my voice in you, shutting me out. You doing so great. You used to be the one to hold you when you fall. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't fuck with your tone. I don't wanna go home. Can it be one night? Can you? Can you? Give me reasons we should be complete. You should be with him, I can't compete. You looked at me like I was someone else. Oh, how can't you see? I don't wanna slow dance in the dark, in the dark.
It's true
that all that you know is all that you are.
You said that it's all that you want and more.
You fuck up and pour another drink. Tell me what you think.
You
Know that I'm too drunk to talk right now. You put your cigarette out on my face, so beautiful. Please, woman, don't break your back for me. I'll put you out of your misery.
tell me that it's all okay. I've been waiting on this all damn day.
Call me in the morning, tell me how last night went. I'm here, but don't count on me to stay a little longer. If you convince me and tell me all the things that you have against me. Every time we make up, the truth is faded. Everybody's blind when the view's amazing. Damn, who are we right now?
We have
A little conversation, figure it out with no intoxication.
we carry
On with
it's
no motivation.
we're never wrong. How the hell we
Gonna make it, baby. We're used to this.
Tell me what are we
To
to do?
do. It's like we only play to lose.
Chase the pain with an excuse. I love that shit and so
For
do you.
you,
But don't break
break your back for me. I'll put you out of your misery. I think I need to update. Waiting on this all damn day. Call me in the morning, tell me how last night went. I'm here, but don't count on me to stay. Bow, 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 wow. Can't even exit the game. What the fuck? Alright, let's wait 5 minutes just to get into a game where Shiko's gonna get banned back to back. Dude. A minus a 30 and then a minus whatever the fuck. And of course I get support. Alright, great. Maybe jungle doesn't want to jungle. Or then he's gonna be like, oh wait, I didn't want to switch roles. I thought you could have been blah 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 blah. I'm actually gonna get Ignite. I feel like the anti-heal is just it's a little too underrated to give it up at the moment. Alright, time to lock the fucking... Oh. Looks like someone can't lock in and just queue the... or load in. Just shy of 5 mil. Yeah, I feel like it's never gonna come, but it doesn't really matter, does it? When your game can get ruined by fucking level 30s just popping up in your lobbies because God knows nobody knows what to do against enemies that actually know what the fuck they're doing. It's fine. Yeah, well, I mean, it's the only reason I'm playing this godforsaken game. Let's see, who's AFK? Who are we remaking for? About almost 4 a.m. so it's like it can either be really good or really bad. We'll see. Talon's a pain in the ass, though. Also have to remember I don't have Ghost this game. I might have forgotten how to use Ignite. Oh, what is that? What the fuck is that? Hello, sir? I did that to myself. Honestly fine. I'll go bot, try to help them out a bit. I'm just glad someone responded to that invade. League clients covering the game? Yeah. I don't know why my OBS is starting to fuck with me all of a sudden. Like, I can't even go full screen anymore because it hides my cursor, like, and there's nothing I can do to fix it. I've tried, like, everything. But thanks for letting me know. Good. Okay, the song just popping off. Pretty good. Nope. My losses here. Hopefully top can hold their own here. What are you doing? Why are we not running? Kind of deserve it, not gonna lie. Decent flash. I'm feeling my top is probably gone here. Yep. Damn, he cleared that hell fast. Thanks for the bait, bro. What are you doing? I mean, that's fine. It's fine. It's my fault. Should've been watching mid. Okay, we're being serious, right? Really? Okay, dude. Oh my goodness, dude. I'm really... There's no way. It's just like the speed that these games fly off the rails is kind of ridiculous. And then our only option now is to play for late, even though they have a... Flat elo, by the way. Flat elo, by the way. it. Whose fucking Smurf is this? Are we being serious?
An enemy has been slain.
Really not much I can do.
Your turret has been destroyed.
This Talon is smurfing out his ass. Nope, and I'm dead.
Your turret has been destroyed. Redemption in the light.
so triggered. I'm not gonna surrender just so this Lysandra can suffer. Fuck her.
Your team has destroyed a turret. Your turret has been destroyed.
As did not its existence in. Honestly, this probably would have been better with Ghost. I tried. I tried.
Oh, you are my rich man,
Shut
'cause
down.
I got the cool nice. I ain't got the compassion. I'm just pulling the soul city. Hey, buddy, you can't dance
enemy
all day
is
long.
unstoppable.
I got the brand new Korean blues, so you never seen our
Enemy
the
killing
rich man, the
spree.
cool nice. Let's stand up, play with me.
Enemy
I
double
guess I
kill.
don't lose the more. Ladies and gentlemen, rich man, groove nice. Groove nice. Groove nice.
Oh yeah, matchmaking.
Groove nice. Wicked in a nice groove. Hell, I just shake him up. Rolling in the groove nice. Can't wait anymore.
Can't even play a game of League of Legends at 4 a.m. without getting fucking smurfed on. Like, holy shit, dude. Okay. Very cool. Alright, what level do we think this Talon is? Level 32? Oh, ew. Ew. Oh my god, am I just bad? Yeah, this is obviously a smart account. This guy gets unstoppable literally every single fucking game. MVP 10 games in a row. Are we fucking kidding? Are we kidding right now? %64% win rate, but they're only plat 2? It's because whenever they start losing on whatever the actual rank they are, they get on their little Smurf account that has an 80% win rate on 6 different champions. Like, what are we talking about right now? What are we talking about right now? What are we doing? Well, you get a fucking life. Oh my goodness. Well, only one thing to do. It's so funny too, because there's people that actually like play these games and they're like, oh, that's not a Smurf. They're just 20 times better than every single person in the fucking lobby, no wonder. No fucking wonder. Kind of a whatever. Kind of whatever, dude. I'll offer to trade, but I'll play support. I don't give a fuck. Let's do it. Let's do it. It's just so crazy because, oh, you know, you can.
Oh, I missed that. That was sneaky what he just did there.
Some of what you said, I mean, Elon being fried on ketamine and Republicans are not trying to govern the country. I mean, this is like theorizing about people's state of mind and ad hominem. I don't think that's really necessary. And I'm not really interested in speculating on what Elon's mental state is or Republicans' motivations. But again,
How could you ever... You don't care about the motivations of your lawmakers? What?
we go back to the higher...
You understand that we speculate on the I'm so sorry. I don't want to relive this conversation. But you speculate on the motivations of every single person you engage with at all points in time. It's like one of the most important things when dealing with another human being, right? Like if you woke up and your girlfriend had the oven on, you're guessing that she's probably going to cook something. Not that she's warming this up to throw you in there and make you suffer and die. Or that when you're driving in a car, you're speculating that most people are trying to get to where they're trying to go and they're trying to murder you with their vehicle. Like, sorry.
Level problem, which is that we have a massive deficit. In my mind, we need to get a handle on it. At least directionally, we need to get a handle on it so it doesn't increase. We've tried the traditional approaches that you've identified. We've tried...
Do I ask him in the very beginning? I'm like, what should the debt be? He did. I hate my life. Did I ask this? I think I did. Hold on.
All of it. So I don't know what you call a national emergency, and I guess that's a bit of a qualitative assessment, but we have a 127% GDP to debt ratio, or debt to GDP ratio. That's the highest it's ever been. And with $37 trillion in debt, $2 trillion deficit, we need to restructure things in America, otherwise we're going to have a bona fide emergency. So first, do we agree that there's something that we need to head off at the pass, whether we agree that's an emergency right now or it'll be an emergency later?
No, I think this is given as a truism with no qualifiers ever. I would ask you very simply, what should the debt to GDP ratio be?
I know it's the highest it's ever been, including wartime, right? So the highest it's ever been, even post-World War II, was 119%. And I think we could agree that there's a point where it is too high. Could I give you a specific number? I couldn't.
And it's not even a general number. Like, what's a country that's doing better than us, and then what's their debt to GDP ratio? I think that this is a truism that's given with zero thought. I don't think Trump's thought about it. I don't think Lutnick has ever given a just. I don't think anybody's ever thought about it. It's just kind of like a truism. Like the debt is bad. Like, what should our debt even be? Is 50% good or 70%?
Well, part of it is the issue is it's a confidence meter in a sense, right? So it reaches a point where the debt to GDP ratio is too high for anyone to want to take on American debt. Now,
When we say confidence meter,
hold on, just finish one thing.
Sure.
So obviously, I can't discern from here what that point is, right? And for everyone, it's different. But there's a point where we basically go over the cliff, and we're trying to avoid that. So to the question of are there nations with a higher GDP to debt ratio that are doing fine, I don't know, genuinely. But the question is it something that we need to get a handle on at all? So if we don't even agree on that, then the discussion on strategy is kind of moot. But do you agree that this is something that needs to be resolved or not?
I don't know what we're even resolving it to. So like, for instance, when you said confidence meter, the USD was about as strong as it's ever been, despite supposedly this debt, being horrible and about to take us over a cliff. It was when Donald Trump started to take corrective measures on it that the USD started losing a lot of power, that the bonds market started to shake, and it made it look like other countries were losing faith in America. So what happened there? I feel like there's a lot of truisms given about the debt or given about macroecon, but like when you look at any of the numbers, you can't find any justification for it ever at all. Like, and nobody can talk about it. It's just kind of like these are just truisms given for like political points, I feel.
Okay, so you don't think that this is proven to be an issue that we do need to prioritize right now?
I think that there is a responsible and healthy discussion to have around what should our debt look like, how much debt should we have, and what policy should we take to alleviate that. None of those conversations are happening right now in this administration because they don't even understand what the debt is or really anything about economics in general, I guess. Like, just for instance, because we have a trade deficit with a country that doesn't mean we're subsidizing them. Trump says it over and over again. It doesn't mean we're losing out to them. Trump says it over and over again. And it doesn't mean that it's weakening our economy, but Trump says it over and over again. So how can you even begin to have a discussion on what the debt should look like if we don't even have a basic understanding of like what a trade deficit is, I guess?
Yeah, so where I agree with you is Trump administration has not been good about messaging some sort of comprehensive idea of what the debt should be, why it's too high, why we need to get a handle on it, and what the limit.
Please don't let him get away with that. I correct him, right? It's not a messaging problem. It's a knowledge problem. Please say I say that. I think I say that.
So that handle should be. So I agree with you there, and I'm not here
to be clear, real quick, we don't agree on that. I'm not saying they're not messaging. I think they don't understand it.
Okay,
Thank you. Good. Yes.
I don't know that they don't understand it. I'm curious what makes you confident that they don't understand it.
Because all of their actions demonstrate that they don't understand it. Every single step they've taken has
Understand
been
it.
bad for it. Good. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, so this is one of those things where it's like I personally don't feel confident that I have such a strong grasp of macroeconomics.
And then at the end, he has no domain knowledge. Wait, what the fuck? So we have all these claim, knockdown. And it's like, okay, well, actually, I have no domain specific knowledge on any of these.
I could say that A, every move that they're making is illogical, and B, that they don't even have a strategy. What I can say is that I'm pretty confident that having a $37 trillion debt and $2 trillion deficit is unsustainable.
How can you be pretty confident of that when we don't know what the debt should be? Any country that's doing better than us, that has a better debt to GDP ratio, what even direction we should be aimed at, or the fact that when Trump is taking corrective measures, the faith in the USD got lower, even though it should have gotten higher, according to your logic. Like every single thing that exists in reality.
Can we get a fair fucking game, please?
But how can you say? And then this comes off the tail of him saying, "I have no knowledge or understanding of this at all." How can you have a high level of confidence?
And B, that they don't even. I personally don't feel confident that I have such a strong grasp of macroeconomics.
That's fair. You can also open with that. I don't know. Fuck all. That's fine. That's okay. By the way, that's totally valid.
I could say that A, every move that they're making is illogical, and B, that they don't even have a strategy. What I can say is that I'm pretty confident that having a $37 trillion debt and $2 trillion deficit is unsustainable.
How do you even know?
Wait, do I have support?
How do you even know
fucking
that?
runes?
How could you possibly know that?
And at minimum, we need to correct the trend, even if we think that at the absolute, like we can sustain like 127% debt to GDP ratio. So with that being a given, the question is, what should we do about it? And I think a lot of the time when we talk about tariffs, we talk about them in isolation. And
Where did you have this debate?
Like if I get filled support and I change the fucking runes because of it,
the tariff strategy has been
and then
opaque.
A dodge happens, maybe change my fucking runes back to jungle runes, maybe.
Some sort of method.
Maybe just do that for me.
Fairness, and then it's about blue collar.
Maybe?
It's unclear. But I know that the overall strategy is to at least cut the deficit to zero by increasing revenue on the revenue side through tariffs and reducing costs through DOGE, which we're going to talk about in a moment. And to me, that's something that Howard Lutnick has said. It's something that Scott Besson said. To me, that's at least a compelling directional approach to dealing with this. And I think it's very hard.
How is it compelling, though, if you don't know anything about any of it? Shouldn't that be a red flag? Like, you understand you're describing yourself as the most perfect type of scam
Just
victim,
a good job.
right? I'm pretty sure this is a good direction ahead. I'm pretty sure this guy gave me good advice. How do you know? Feels right. Well, do you know anything about the claims A or B? No, not really. Do you know anything about their intentions or motivations? No, not really. I actually don't really know anything about this subject matter at all. Okay, then what? I'm sorry. What was your claim about this again? I'm pretty confident that it's a good idea, and I'm moving in the right direction. How? What?
Hard to assess where tariffs fit in the overall picture because we're also talking about things like deregulation. And yeah, as you mentioned, it's not as simple as, hey, we're going to put a tariff on this country and there's not going to be any negotiation past that. So there's been mixed messages. I do like directionally, though, that someone is putting a stake in the ground and saying, hey, we need to resolve the deficit because at least intuitively, this doesn't seem like something that we can sustain in depth.
How can you have an intuition on something that you have absolutely no idea? How can you do that? Imagine me building the ideal fantasy football team or fantasy. Is fantasy football only fantasy? Are there fantasy NBA teams? And I'm intuitively, I feel like Magic Johnson is the best. And it's why? I don't know. I like D&D and shit. Magic just sounds cool, I guess. Intuitively, it feels right. I usually pick the guys with the lowest jersey numbers because I feel like if you're jersey number 1, I mean, you must have been the first one there, and so I always go for the lower jersey because intuitively it just feels right.
Definitely. Tariffs are supposed to at least help with that by bring back American manufacturing, and then that raises corporate tax revenues, then we can tax more on the corporate side. They've also said some things about cutting income tax below 150K and using tariffs to replace income tax. So for me, I just like that there's a president who's
I
actually...
wish I could just have some Neuralink
American people
with these
feel the same.
motherfuckers.
like
Like, just
there's
back
less
up,
recently. So this
back up.
is the
Give them
worst
confidence. Let
history
me,
for the US
let
debt
me,
in terms of the US
you know,
debt.
do
So
my
they wanna do
thing
debt
as
split, raise more
Shaco.
revenue, which is
Give me the only window of opportunity afforded to this fucking shit champ, dude. Come on. It's okay. It's too much to ask for, you know.
The tax
It's
cuts,
so
which has had a
much.
massive impact on our deficit. So you can either raise revenues, he's done the opposite of that in both worlds, or you can decrease your outlays. And it doesn't seem like the president is going to cut any.
I'm just
outlays
kidding.
either. So
I'm
you have
just-
the fact that they
I'm
asked
so
for $150 billion from the
tilted.
Pentagon, the fact that they're asking for trillions of dollars increase to the debt ceiling.
It's fine.
And then the fact that
It's fine, dude.
Here's the thing, we're saying tariffs are going to raise revenue. Well, the only way that the tariffs will raise revenue. So external. So here are the factors on both ends where empirically it doesn't work, and then there's an internal inconsistency with this logic as well, right? And the ways that they calculated it is consumption remains the exact same, which it won't, because obviously people are going to adjust their consumption based on the tariffs. So even internally, it doesn't make sense. True, good points. How are you going to raise revenue with a thing where you're trying to get rid of all of your imports? You're trying to destroy your import market. So how are you going to raise taxes on your import market? Good, great point. At least two. Why would you want them to make a lot of money on tariffs? Why would you want the US to make money on tariffs? If the whole point of the tariffs was so that people stop ordering international goods and start ordering domestic goods. It doesn't make any sense, right? We want to reduce the consumption of international goods, which would reduce the amount of tariffs. So even if it's not even directionally good, it's just all of it is just horrible. It's just all of it is horrible. None of it is actually furthering anything to reduce the debt of the deficit, which is why by the end of this admin, the deficit likely won't go down. The debt absolutely won't go down. There will be a failure on both those fronts, just like with Doge. We'll get to that. But I don't think any of the Trump people will even be willing to admit that.
Yeah, so obviously it's difficult for us to prognosticate. I would say if look at the end of Trump's presidency, the debt and the deficit have not gone down. That is a failure. And then we'll just objectively know because they said they were going to do this thing. They said that all these policies are meant to do this thing, and then they didn't do that thing. What I would say is that we need to consider the tariffs again as a toolkit in the overall toolbox. Because one of the things I don't even like about the framing is, hey, let's talk about tariffs. Because that doesn't make much sense to me. It's like, no, let's talk about what the economic strategy is. And
The only economic strategy is tariffs. Do I say that? Please tell me I say that. He sold tariffs as the chief major
what piece
economic
tariffs
strategy.
serve there, right? So you mentioned, for
Holy
example,
shit! I just banged my desk and it unpaused. Is that a feature of this computer?
that assumes that consumption remains but if tariffs raise prices, then consumption will go down because prices will just be too high, right? Well, then we have to consider other things, right? So if we deregulate, for example, and we make it cheaper for companies to actually make goods in the US, might prices actually remain the same and consumption remain the same. That's possible. So
This will never be the case. I'll bet any amount of money right now because in the United States, we can't produce even half the companies necessary. The capex, the type of investment that we're looking to build those factories and train those people, we're at least a decade out in a lot of industries where this ever happening. There's no world where you peel back a couple regulations and all those acts like this dude's a fucking small business investor. Shut the fuck up, bro. Investment. You're saying investment. Then magically, the United States is competing with
Show me your
Thailand.
angel investment portfolio. My God.
And China and Taiwan when it comes to manufacturing. That's never ever happening.
well, I'm not so confident that's never going to happen, and at least we see early signs that people are attempting to make it happen, and that's why we see different companies trying to invest in America. Yeah,
Companies have always been investing in America. Most of the investment that Trump credit came from the
so
chip.
this debate's not going to go very well with you.
Okay.
Me and I don't agree. So, yeah.
Sorry, but when you lie, when you say the wrong thing over and over and over again, it feels kind of stupid.
So we've seen Taiwan Semiconductor do that recently. This past week, we saw Saudi Arabia make investments. Obviously, that's more sovereign, not private companies. But we've seen many companies. We see Honda.
You know that companies are investing in America all the time. You guys know that companies are investing in America all the time. You guys do know that, right? The companies are always investing in America. It's just for some
Hey,
reason Trump is
how are
deciding to
you
say it.
today? How are you today?
Every single
Says the
that
fucking
anybody
bot
wants
in my
to-
chat. Shut the fuck up. Get the fuck out of here. Delete yourself.
Why not have
Delete
this
your
as an actual
code.
debate? Because I come off as unhinged. I'm trying to be polite. It's a polite conversation.
in Mexico. So we've seen companies at least making moves to try to reshore manufacturing. Whether it's going to happen by the time that Trump exits.
How are you today?
Unknown.
How are you today?
Issue. No, this is just never going to happen. I'm not sure how you can be so confident in that. I'm not confident. There's a level of confidence that I have, but it's not 100% in either direction. But the point is that moves are being made. We see early signs that companies are responding to it. And there's an open question of is it going to be sufficient and how much a tariff is going to lend to the strategy or take away from it. So look, my general note with economic discussions, I mean, even actual professional economists get this. And this is one of the things where honestly I think what's underlying this whole thing for a lot of people is fundamentally, do you trust that this is a problem that needs to be solved? Do you trust the person trying to solve it? And do you trust the strategy that has been articulated? It sounds like where you're at is you don't trust that this is a problem that needs to be solved.
Who the
You don't
fuck
trust that Trump is the person to
flashed
solve it, and you don't
in
trust that
front
this
of
is
me?
I trust that this is a problem to be solved.
Alright, you know
I'm
what, fuck.
unsure if Trump is the man to solve it. I am unsure on whether he has a correct policy to solve it because you haven't heard it thoroughly articulated comprehensively. But I think we need to do something because I don't think this is a sustainable track. And personally, I'm just happy that someone's trying to solve it at all.
Yeah, I don't know how we can say we're happy someone's trying to solve it at all when Trump has proven he had his first whole term where he proved he was horrible on things like the debt and the deficit. He added more to the debt than any president prior to that. A lot of the debt that accumulated even under Biden's term was a result of the Trump Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. And a lot of the debt that we ended up, and a lot of the interest we paid on the debt that was accumulating under that. So there's no reason to believe that Trump would do anything good here because he failed in his first term. He's continuing to fail in his second term. Maybe something magical to change. The thing that bothers me the most when we say is this something we should talk about in terms of like what is a healthy debt to GDP ratio. I think there probably is a good conversation to have there, and I think there's a good set of steps that we probably take to alleviate some of the fiscal burden that we have in the United States. That conversation can't take place now because nobody has any idea what it should look like. A lot of people are deluded into thinking the debt should be zero. And a lot of people are now fixated on should we have a worldwide tariff policy that's been enacted unilaterally from the executive branch from a guy who has bankrupted casinos. And there's no reason to look.
True.
the casino bankrupter guy is going to be the one doing world economic policy on his own. What?
Any of this, I think it's going to end positively. Nobody internationally thinks it's going to end positively. The markets don't think it's going to end positively. No foreign governments think it's going to end positively. Half the United States. Like, there's just, I mean, like, the frustrating part is that all of this will end up not working out in 4 years, and everybody's going to, on the conservative side, will be scratching their heads, like, thinking, like, well, who could have guessed? And it's like, well, you know, we saw it didn't work in the first admin. He added record levels to the debt and the deficit, and now it's not going to work in the second admin. He's taking even more catastrophic steps. So I don't know what conversation, you know, we can even realistically have about alleviating the debt now.
True.
Trump on the campaign trail promised to hire Elon to cut waste, fraud, and abuse from the government. If you were to give Doge a grade, how would you grade it?
Okay, so I'd say Doge's stated goal is from the deficit
What was no part of this last, bro?
on the spending side. Today, if we take the numbers to be accurate, they've saved 170 billion. Some of this is pending congressional approval to actually be concretized. But that's, I consider, a pretty good clip considering that they're less than 170 days even in office. Now, in order for them to save as much as they want to, I think they probably need to do more than just efficiency cuts, and then we get into more sensitive conversations about how to do things like that. My general thesis is, this kind of goes back to the debt conversation and deficit conversation, something radical does need to be done. So I proceed from the basis that I'm happy something's being done now. My biggest criticism of Doge is I think the messaging has been really clear. It's been really...
Do I counter that? I don't know what you would call that. It's not a truism. It's like a thing you say that sounds good, but it's like clearly juvenile at best. Like some guy, imagine, has cancer and nobody really knows what to do, and it's like it's bad. It's like stage 4 pancreatic cancer. We're trying to figure out like what the best, and then all of a sudden somebody pulls out a shotgun and he shoots him in his fucking abdomen, and you're like, excuse me, bro, what the fuck? And then everybody's like, whoa, 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 whoa. At least he's trying something, right? The doctors over here are like, we don't know if chemo rate. Nobody knew what to do. At least this guy fucking did something. Okay, at least he's trying something here. All right, like, what the fuck? What is that answer? What?
really unclear what their criterion is for making cuts or for laying people off. It's been unclear how much of this is politically motivated, like when we consider the stuff with USAID versus actually about massive efficiency gains. That said, what I've seen from him is a level of flexibility when it comes to making cuts where they're actually not impervious to feedback and they're amenable to making changes. So for example, I know that they cut about 10,000 jobs from Health and Human Services, and they ended up reinstating 20% of them because they realized, hey, we actually need those jobs. I think it was similar with the Nuclear Security Administration. They cut, I want to say something like over 100 or 177 jobs, and they ended up reinstating a lot of them because they realized they need them. So there are cases where they overcut, and obviously when people overcut, like, that's bad, but they've shown that they're willing to be dynamic and flexible correcting those overcuts. And I also think that the way that they've been treating the layoffs in particular has been a lot more humane than they've been given credit for, because the vast majority of the employees who've been let go have received severance, in many cases 8 to 12 months of severance. And that runs contrary to a lot of the dialogue on, like, hey,
I'm sorry, are we gonna get to the waste, fraud, and abuse? I haven't heard any waste, fraud, and abuse yet. Are we on our way there? Or?
we're just losing jobs and it's just complete chaos, and they're using a cudgel for everything. So overall, I would say I would give them a B+. I think it's a little early. I know.
A B+.
Like, can we get 15 minutes into a game without everyone dying 20 times, dude?
You want to talk about grading on a curve? A B+? Even if I take his $1 trillion goal, it was 2, by the way. Even if I take his $1 trillion goal at face value, he was 90% under his goal. What? 10% of the goal.
I know it's meant to be sunset by July 2026, and look, there's a clear objective goal, either to cut $1 trillion or not, and then we can be much more objective about how much it cut and whether it was enough. But overall, I'm positive on the changes that they've made. I'm positive on the fact that they're willing to take feedback. And I think one thing that people don't understand about the way Doge is structured is they don't actually have statutory authority to make cuts unilaterally. It's not like Elon or anyone else in that department is just going in and cutting things without consulting with the agency or department heads. So given that in many cases they have an engineer, a lawyer, and then some sort of liaison for Doge embedded in the department, and the department is actually agreeing, hey, yeah, we can make these cuts.
That can't happen.
A, I'm just happy that there's some sort of influence in these departments that is looking at this with a fresh eye and recommending cuts. B, I'm glad that the departments are agreeing with those cuts and following through. And
yeah, just as a heads up also, by the way, this guy is not a Trump supporter, and this guy's not right-wing. This guy is a centrist. He's an independent. Remember.
I think this was necessary. I think the question is just on the margins, are they doing as good of a job as the ideal Doge could do? So for me, it's B+.
Yeah, this is the easiest F in the world. Doge came in promising $2 trillion in cuts, and they've walked away with anywhere from 50 to 150 billion, maybe. I don't know in what world you miss your target by an order of magnitude and still manage to get the passing grade. Also, Doge's mission was to come in and find waste, fraud, and abuse, not try to make personnel cuts in programs they don't like. So they didn't even hit their original mission at all. I'm going to be honest, I think every liberal was a little bit scared to see Doge come in and find a whole bunch of waste, fraud, and abuse in the government, because obviously that would look pretty bad. I did expect them to find some stuff. I'm actually astounded that they came in with like an open book to go through everything and came away with absolutely nothing. There's not a zero credible claim of waste, fraud, or abuse that Doge came away with, despite the firings, despite away with absolutely pretty bad thing. There's not a zero credible claim.
There was not a zero. Little bro's stumbling.
Of waste, fraud, or abuse that Doge came away with, despite the firings, despite going in and, you know, kicking out security guards, despite getting to go through as much data as they wanted to. The only thing we've gotten is a worse understanding of a lot of these agencies because Elon Musk himself has been involved in the proliferation of a lot of lies about them. For instance, spreading the lie that Social Security is paying out people that are over the age of 120 or whatever. This is a lie that's been repeated over and over and over again that every conservative will not believe until the day that they die, because once you believe a lie that Trump has told you, you can never, ever, ever disavow that lie. They didn't manage to find any credible amounts of waste or fraudulent behavior or abusive behavior. They just went through and they control F for DEI and cut every whatever program they felt like they didn't like. I think it's a cowardly way for Trump to try to curb the size of the government rather than presenting to Congress, here are systematic cuts that I think we should make in large, or programmatic cuts that we should make in large government programs to save money. They haven't done that. They're just trying to like fire random people to make savings. So, I mean, I don't know. They came in looking for waste, fraud, and abuse. It seems like they found none. I haven't heard of anything regarding that. No credible points to that. And they missed it.
Wait, what are you? His Twitter account? So Elon did a Nazi salute story. It's the first of many misrepresentations we're going to see by individual content creators at social media over the next 4 years.
Federal spending by trillions of dollars and make government more efficient. But with all the chaos it's causing, one has to ask, is the cure worse than the wound? This past weekend, Elon announced that federal employees will have to provide email updates on a weekly basis, answering the question, what is funded? And since it's been about a month since Doge was founded, this is a good opportunity to ask, what did they get done this month? The country seems to be split into two realities. There are people who view what Trump, Elon, and the Department of Government Efficiency are doing as a hostile takeover of American government that's creating daily chaos. And there are people who view this as a revolution of people taking back control of their government. In this video, we're going to explore why there are two wildly different interpretations of what's going on. I'll also provide my perspective on what's going on and all kind of cuts. Everyone but Clinton. Clinton created a surplus in 1998 to 2001, which promptly disappeared after that. Every president tells us they're going to fix our out-of-control spending and get our debt.
Your turret has been destroyed.
They went by at least an order of magnitude, maybe 2 orders of magnitude, if they end up getting only, you know, 20 billion or whatever worth of cuts approved by Congress. I don't know what world that's ever, especially given all the political capital it's been about, all the drama related to it. I don't know what world that's ever a success in any way, size, shape, or form.
Cool. So it sounds like we have some facts to reconcile before we can even get to this objective analysis. So let's just see if we agree on this. So I have heard from Howard Lutnick and Elon that the goal is 1 trillion. Maybe at some.
That's Kaizen. Elon Musk. As usual, excellent reasoning and judgment from That's Kaizen. Oh, wait, are these all Elon Musk retweets? Base. Holy shit, okay. Okay, base. Alright.
Some 5.87 trillion, but my understanding is their most up-to-date goal is $1 trillion in cuts to the deficit. Have you heard differently? Because you said 2 trillion.
Elon himself stated 2 trillion.
Oh, I missed that. That was sneaky what he just did there. He said their most up-to-date goal. So the one they walked back in 2 trillion? I don't think I even caught that in this conversation.
So I have heard how $1 trillion. Maybe at some 5 point they said 2 trillion, but my understanding is their most up-to-date goal is $1 trillion in cuts to the deficit. Have you heard differently? Because you said 2 trillion.
Elon himself stated 2 trillion multiple times. They might have walked that back to 1 trillion. Even at 1 trillion, it's still an order of magnitude miss in terms of the cuts they found, or found they recommended. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And do we agree that the goal is to sunset Doge by July 2026? So any cuts made now is not actually.
Yes, but my understanding is that the majority of what they've suggested is basically done. They're kind of like taking a step back now, so they might find little things, but basically the majority of the bulk of the work is done at this point.
Okay, my understanding is not that. So my understanding is that Elon is.
Am I wrong on that? Because I thought I heard that like it's basically now gone back to being the USDS. Elon Musk is stepping back. Like they've done most of their major stuff, and now they're just kind of like recommending people inside each of the major departments to say like, hey, you should buy Microsoft 365 instead of renewing your Excel subscription. Like they're basically done with all their major cuts.
Special government employee. He's there for 130 days. He's used up the majority of that, so he can't be full-time on the team. But they have other people in Doge. They have Amy Consini right now. She used to be in the government. She wasn't in the government. She's a more traditional full-time employee. And this work is going to continue until July 2026, which means we have a full year to make up the gap between, you're calling it 30 to 150 billion. They're saying on their website 170 billion. Probably the truth is somewhere in the middle. I don't know. And then there's a question of how much of this actually gets approved by Congress and Congress. But to say it's an F, for me, it sounds hyperbolic just because we're literally not at the finish line yet. And if we expected them to cut $1 trillion to $2 trillion, 130 days in, I think that was an unrealistic expectation. Now, if it is true, and I have not heard this, that the bulk of the cuts that can be made have already been made, then obviously that's a failure. But my understanding is no one is warranting that. The bulk of the work that Elon can do in this fiscal year has been done directly.
Make him commit to a position. Ask him. Ask him a solid question. Do it.
But there's still a team there, right? There's still dozens of Doge employees embedded in these departments continuing to make cuts. So again, this is one of those things where, unfortunately, the timing of this debate is such that we're a bit early in the process to assess the long-term impact of things like economic shifts or changes to spending. But I think we have a sense of proportionality, like we're not even halfway in to the amount of time that's been outlaid to make the changes on the Doge side, and to already call it a failure doesn't make sense.
Well, have they found any waste, fraud, or abuse?
Well, so the Government Accountability Office in 2022 says they identified $250 billion.
Excuse me. Government Accountability Office? Is that Doge? Does anybody know? Is the Government Accountability Office, is that Doge?
Nonprofit payments. Majority of that was overpaid, right? So there's a ton of
Yeah, well, you just, that was like government accountability office, not Doge.
Yeah, and Doge is looking into the particulars of what those improper payments were.
Sounds like we already had an office that was looking into it. Sounds like what you've done is you've added another layer of pointless bureaucracy, which is supposed to be the whole thing you didn't like.
So what I'm saying is there's a bucket of at least $250 billion here that we know that in 2022 was wasted. Now, how much of that is fraud? How much is that abuse? I don't know, but that's what Doge is looking into now.
I don't think Doge is looking into that. I think the Government Accountability Office, and I think that the Office of Inspector General is looking into that. The easiest way to pull the plug on this argument is if you really cared about saving money for the government, then the number one most efficient program to put money into is the IRS, which we're trying to pull people out of. There's some $400 to $600 billion annually. That's every single year of money out there that the IRS just can't go after because they don't have the manpower for it. And Republicans gleefully try to pull employees out of it or take employees out of the IRS if Trump just bragged about it. So I mean, like, I just don't think there's any real genuine effort there to actually save money because they were.
True. How many truths? Yeah, concise. And it's like argument, empirical, fact. Just.
So there's a discussion to be had about what should they be doing instead. Let's not talk about what they have done because you think they haven't done anything. So at minimum, there's $20 to $30 billion in untagged payments that were identified, and we don't know what the money is. We don't know what it was for. We don't know if it was put into the budget, but it was identified that, hey, there's a very simple thing. For anyone who's ever worked at a corporation where you have to pay things on behalf of the company, when you pay for things on behalf of the company, you tag. Just like
they do that in the government. Every time that Doge brought that up, it was a lie.
Do you really think that $20 to $30 billion, do you know how much money that is? It's just slipping out of the government and no one has any fucking idea where it's going. There's no... Just because in some database there's not a fucking label for it.
Every single time it was a lie.
My understanding is it's not a lie.
It is a lie. That's why there's no prosecution that's been referred. That's why nobody's talking about specifically.
True. I'm sorry, $20 to $30 billion is being stolen? There's no tag on any of it? Who's being prosecuted for this? That's a lot of money. $20 to $30 billion? This is like the biggest fraud in all of you. Is it $20 to $30 billion? Who's being prosecuted for it?
Let me tell you how, if it were true, it would work. It's literally, there's a field that's optional where you can indicate what your opinion is for. It was not indicated. And this doesn't mean that there was a massive fraud, but it was
I'm
one
so
of these...
sorry. For anybody that's worked in any accounts receivable or any fucking company ever, they're trying to fucking like, no, it doesn't work this way. And even in my business, I have 52 fucking invoices, and you gotta wire money from a particular account for a particular reason. In what world? Walk me through the process where money gets from a government coffer to some business and no one has any idea what the transactional process looks like. Like, who's requesting the money? Who's sending the money? From what account to what account is it going to? What is the payoff? Like, there's no possible way that it's like, today in the government, it's time to send money, and I log into, who is this? No one cares.
I log into, U.S. government bank, send 20 billion to Frank. Purpose? I don't know. Enter. Like,
what? When does this ever happen? Billion. We're talking $20-30 billion, okay? That's a lot of money.
These very simple things where, hey, the systems were not properly designed to make sure that we have accountability and transparency over how every single dollar is spent. Now, how much of that is incompetence? How much of that is malfeasance? I don't know. You're saying it's completely a lie, and I guess I don't know what the implication here is that every single payment is tagged, and we know exactly where every dollar
They know. Government stuff. If you know anybody that works in government or does anything, it's pretty carefully accounted for.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Appeal to authority elements. You know someone in government who's told you
appeal to authority?
This is a lie. But at minimum, if we agree that we trust the VA and we trust that when they say that there's a $250 billion in underpayments, overpayments, and payments that they don't know where it went, then the question is, okay, well, how much of that $250 billion at least has Doge captured? I'm identifying 20 to 30 billion and saying, hey, we know that, or allegedly, according to them, you don't believe them, but I'm taking it at face value. They're saying it was not tagged, and now it's getting tagged. So that's a very simple change that's been made that it doesn't get us all of the way there, but it's a demonstrable difference in moving the needle on actually cutting the amount of spending the government is doing. In addition to that, I mean, the Social Security Administration for years has identified that, yeah, there is fraud in Social Security, there is fraud in payouts, and Doge has been on top of looking at that too. So unfortunately, it feels like there's just a bit of an unbridgeable divide, because if you're just saying it's a lie, like, I'm actually interested in how you can prove the negative here.
Well,
like,
it's super simple on my side. So when you're talking about those mistypes of payments, okay, fine. Let's say that there was some fraudulent behavior there. Who's been recommended for charges? What is the FBI or the DOJ going after? The answer for these is always going to be nobody and nothing, because all of it is a lie. Whether or not there's like a payment tagged on a database, anybody that's worked with a sophisticated enough system knows that there's sometimes multiple systems, sometimes stuff is tagged, sometimes it's not.
Oh, good job. I bring this up. Thank God.
That it's not tagged doesn't necessarily mean that it's fraudulent waste of
or that it's just like some random fucking billions of dollars that are slipping out of a bank account that nobody's keeping track of.
That's where the CBO's accounting work. A really great example. Like the claims that Elon Musk and Trump made about the Social Security Administration payroll over the 120 years old or whatever. There's a file called the DMF, the Death Master file. That file they'll update sometimes with cause of death or death that other agencies or creditors can kind of like use just to look at it to help them monitor stuff. That's not the same record, for instance, though, that the Social Security Administration uses to pay people out. The idea that we're paying thousands of people who are already dead was a total lie. That was said over and over again, and is still said to this day by the majority of conservatives, by Trump, or by Elon. But when you actually read, because the SSA has its Office of Inspector General, you can read the report. This has been known that updating that Death Master file sometimes is like really difficult for a variety of reasons. It doesn't mean there are fraudulent payments going out. When you're talking about payments going out as a result of inappropriate payments, my understanding is about 60% of those are recovered, 40% aren't. Sometimes it can be simple that a person dies and then an SSA check goes out like the next day, and then they have to like recover it. Most of the time, it's pretty easy to do. It's pretty trivial. I don't think Doge is helping recover any of this. And like I said, if there was any actual...
I've never heard of it. Is Doge helping the SSA recover? Maybe they are. Yeah, I haven't heard this. It's possible that they somehow are.
waste, fraud, or abuse, then I would expect we would see some type of criminal charge or something like the DOJ, and that just hasn't happened. It won't happen.
Yeah, so I mean, again, we're prognosticating about whether it will happen. We're very early into the administration. Maybe it happens. Maybe they actually do prosecute people. And in many cases, I don't think that prosecution is needed because if it's simply grease and it's simply error and simply entropy, you don't need to prosecute someone for that all the time. As you just acknowledged yourself, sometimes there's many systems. Some of them are antiquated. Some of them are not talking to each other. And even in the case that 60% of these funds are recovered, 40% are not, then there's a 40%, there's a large S that we can actually recover and we can actually be looking into. So
fund the SSA. Sorry? Stop pulling employees from the SSA. Fund the SSA.
Yeah, and
fund the department that does the work on this particular thing. Why would you fund a third party to come in and do this?
It might not be an issue of funding the SSA. It might be an issue of making the SSA more efficient and actually updating the systems and updating this DMF.
It's like... It's like all the bullshit talk. I have to do this. I have to do one podcast episode. I just want to do one 3-hour show with a person where I just want to talk like this the whole time. I don't know if people realize like how empty and hollow it is. Like yesterday, so Dan brought me over and I looked at Redact. And Dan paid me $1 million to do a consultation for React. And when I looked at it, one of the things I realized was they had it was the most unbelievably inefficient allocation of human resources that I've ever seen in my entire life. And so we optimized and we streamlined a ton of the different pathways that the employees were using to access a lot of the files and just the way that they were.
Just said Shaco's the most elo inflated.
We're using different optimizations and we've improved and streamlined the whole process. And now there's like corporate-wide accountability mechanisms and stuff in order to drive like greater efficiency. It's like, what the fuck are you saying? But this is the most empty bullshit ass PR talk I've ever heard in my fucking life. Give me one example, one concrete fucking example of anything. This is empty PR bullshit. This is the business cut. It's all of this. All of this is the business cut. It's all this.
Hi everyone, it's Skunk Paste here. And you may or may not have noticed, but I just received a business. What does this mean for the brand? New viral outreach burst. What does that mean? Any viral approach, marketing schemes, theoretical distribution, employee relation management. Diabolical web overdrive. Advertisement sensibility. Outreach analysis. Quantized distribution. Online web content. Pivotal techniques to increase your marketability and sales output. Stock portfolio tip trading. Techniques. Stock investment leeway opportunities. More content delivered straight to your feed. How can I increase my growth? What are my sales figures? What's my bottom line?
You'd be looking into. So
fund the SSA.
Sorry?
Stop pulling employees from the SSA. Fund the SSA.
Yeah, and it might not be an issue of funding the SSA. It might be an issue of making the SSA more efficient and actually updating the systems and updating this DMF, as you pointed out. Or, as I understand it, there are systems that are coded on really old cobalt, and people don't.
I don't think I even touched this. Like, yes. My face when some fucking middle manager dipshit reads about the newest fucking framework and is like, why haven't we updated all of our systems? Excuse me. Why are we running on C when there's C++? Or why aren't we on Ruby on Rails? I don't even know what the memes are. Fuck, I need to update the memes. Why aren't we on the latest, bestest framework? Your board is what, PHP? How old is that? Why would you use something that's so old?
Not many coders are actually coding Cobalt anymore. So it's like, why are we using old systems? So some of this is just
like what? I don't know. Like, what are the Cobalt systems we're talking about? Is this like some fundamental like thing that's like just transacting between? Like, why would do you need to up? Like, what do we even talk? I'm sorry, I don't know. Like, this is the equivalent of Elon when he's like, we need to redo the whole stack. It's Cobalt, okay? The blue stuff from Terraria.
modernizing the systems that we have in government and getting off of old software licenses we're not using anymore, canceling old contracts that we're not using anymore, and just modernizing and making things more efficient. And the proof of that being done effectively wouldn't mean necessarily that people are going to jail. The proof of that would be that the actual amount of spending goes down. So again, as I said before, the proof of this should not be that people are going to jail over waste, fraud, and abuse. Well, the fraud for sure. But the proof of this should be that the actual number is going down. And
waste, fraud, and abuse. At least 2 out of 3 of those. Fraud and abuse? No?
$30 and $150 billion for actually have something. It's not nothing, as you've been saying sometimes. They're reporting that's $170 billion in savings. Even if the truth is somewhere in between, even if we put it at half, let's say we take the halfway point and somewhere between 80 and 120 billion, that's substantive. And my question to you, Stephen, is do you think that there should be well, actually, it's not fair to say that, because you did say that there should be a plan presented to Congress and that's the way that we should do it. I would say, well, we've tried that so many times. We've tried that so many times. The best that we've been able to save is like $30 billion. And I'm glad that there's some sort of different approach where we're bringing in people from private industry. We're focusing on not just conventional government planning to actually reduce the amount that we spend and actually trying to modernize systems to make them more efficient and just update government. So yeah, that's why I give it a B+. I can understand why you wouldn't want to give it a B+. I don't understand how you can give it an F, given that we're literally not at
A B+. How can you miss your mark? Like, imagine this world, bro. Like, Joe Biden's economy. We had inflation that was out of control. Okay, but we beat every other economy in the world coming out of COVID. The dollar was on a fucking rampage against other currencies, and international faith in the U.S. economy was at its highest. Sorry, I give him an F. I give him a fucking F. For how much? An F. Okay. Then surely Doge, which is Miss B+. We don't know where it's gonna go yet, and it's the fun. Plus, I can't read this. I can read satanic. But Doge is still trying, okay? Trump gets graded on effort, and Biden gets graded on whatever the perceptions of him are in whatever Elon Musk tweet I read.
To find waste, fraud, and abuse, they didn't find waste, fraud, and abuse. They came in to make suggestions for programs because Republicans have given up on trying to govern this country. If Republicans want to cut from the government, if they actually want to decrease the amount that they spend, then you go to government to do government. You don't get to bring in a guy who's frying his brain on ketamine to try to make a whole bunch of arbitrary cuts in personnel because they're too lazy or stupid to actually write the bills to pay the departments. I don't like this idea that
True! Fucking true! You want to cut government? Cut the fucking government! Cut the fucking government! Go to government and do it! So try to shortcut the process, you lazy fuck. Not him.
Go, well, it was too hard, so we brought in a guy unilaterally to just start hacksawing stuff, and this is our way of doing it. Doge was brought in to find waste, fraud, or abuse, not reread to me in a less coherent voice things that are on Government Accountability Office or Office of Inspector General report from 2022 to 2023.
Why do I need Doge, the fucking reprinting agency? It sounds to me like what Doge needs is a fucking printer so that they can print off reports from 3 years ago and read them like they're presenting it for the first time to the class.
It's a waste of money. It's a demonstration of a lack of ability to do business. Elon Musk became everybody's worst middle manager. Anybody that's worked in private industry knows how annoying it is to get a random email from some C-level exec saying, send me 5 things that you work on this week. Oh, like it was so annoying that half the cabinet heads were like telling their departments. I think Cash Patel, maybe Hegseth was saying like, guys, don't waste your time responding to this. This is stupid. Okay, this is dumb. It was a total failure in every single like size of the way you can measure it up. It was a failure. They came in looking for waste, fraud, and abuse. They came away with personnel cut recommendations because they don't know how to recommend these things to Congress. And the small things that we want to take credit for Doge, like talking about optimizing systems, that department was already in place. Which is what Doge kind of like cancel on. The United States are supposed to go around optimizing systems.
If they fucking
because Trump will suggest something crazy and stupid, and then when it comes and it fails, everybody tries to walk it back to a more reasonable program. If Bill Gates is saying we want to help the USPS make the federal government more efficient, we think that there are ways that we can do that. Okay, well then fine, that's good. That wasn't what was promised. What was promised was Elon Musk saying $2 trillion in cuts from a $1.7 trillion discretionary budget, which the thing is on the discretionary level, by finding waste, fraud, and abuse. The numbers that he cited over and over were crazy. And at the end, he came away with drama related to shuttering the parliament for the ID. Waste, waste, nor fraud, nor abuse. So it's an easy F.
Yeah,
fucking
so I would say that personnel cuts can be cutting waste.
Can be. Well, it could be cutting waste. It could be. My God. Waste, fraud, and abuse. And what do we come away with? Well, maybe we should fire a few people. Why? Because we don't like that department. Okay.
I mean, if there's a certain amount of people doing a job and we can do the job with fewer people, then anyone above that we don't need. And that's unfortunate because obviously it sucks for those people who are doing the job to be removed from the job. But this is very normal in private industry. You say, hey, we actually have too many employees to do something that now either due to better systems or better technology, we can do with fewer people. So I would say that laying off people does constitute removing waste. I'm not sure what you consider waste that wouldn't be personnel cuts. There's obviously examples.
Just also, by the way, we're playing the games here. Not a single fucking person would take that perspective on waste when it's coupled with waste, fraud, and abuse. When you're thinking of waste, you're thinking of like money that's being spent in a is it duplicitous? Like where you're like you're buying like 7 versions of the same thing, or money is slipping away in invoices that you're like losing track of. Or you're in a, like a horrendously unoptimized environment, like overpaying for stupid shit. Like no one is ever thinking like, oh, wasteful spending. Let's cut this department. That's not waste. That's like a programmatic change.
of waste that are not just personnel cuts. But I would say personnel cuts falls under the category of waste. So to say, oh, well, all you did is cut employees, that's not actually resolving waste, fraud, and abuse. I think it's categorically some of what you said, I mean, Elon, Republicans are not trying to govern the country. I mean, this is like theorizing about people's state of mind and how many. I don't think that's really necessary. And I'm not really interested in speculating on what Elon's mental state is or Republicans' motivations. But again, we go back to the higher level problem, which is that we have a massive deficit. In my mind, we need to get a handle on it. At least directionally, we need to get a handle on it so it doesn't increase. We've tried the traditional approaches that you've identified. We've tried the conventional government agencies, all the other agencies, and then make recommendations to Congress, and then Congress approves those changes. And it hasn't been working. And that's why we need to, as annoying as it could be to have a private industry middleman involved in the picture, look to private industry. And this is not completely without precedent. I mean, Henry Ford helped the government, Howard Hughes helped the government. We've had business magnates help the government at stages in the U.S.
So far, one thing is for sure, your data shouldn't be part of the argument. This episode is sponsored by Private Internet Access, the VPN trusted by millions to protect their digital freedom. Now, right now, every time you browse, stream, or scroll, your IP...
Ooh, reply to me.
Stop saying that phrase. I should just say 10% instead of orders of magnitude. An order of magnitude is a massive difference. It's an increase or a decrease by a factor of 10, right? It's a huge... If you're off by an order of magnitude, it's a tremendous amount to be off on something like that. But you're right, I should just stop saying that. I should just say it was 10%, because that... It probably sounds better to just say like they were 1,000%, you know, over, or they were 10% of their goal or something, I guess.
address, location, and private PIA encrypts your, and it's not just your privacy country's activity ever. That's an Android Plus. It protects unlimited devices at once. Go to Peace of Mind Ketamine or whether we should use the internet. Now don't browse naked. PIA's got your back.
So the question again is not whether Elon's on ketamine or whether we should be bringing individuals from private industry. The question is how do we actually get this deficit in hand? And I haven't seen any public sector approach that's been successful. I see a private industry success that is at least more successful than every approach prior, because the most savings that we've ever gotten is around 30 billion. And if that's a low end of your range, then Doge is actually already doing better than they've done in the past. And I think that's something that shows early signs of promise. Again, if we don't get it through Congress, a lot of this doesn't actually end up mattering at the end of the day. But I would like to hear what is an approach that we haven't tried, that we should try, that doesn't involve private industry, that you think would work.
A real approach would be having people come together when you go to make the budget and suggesting these are programs that we need to make. We actually need to make programmatic cuts to huge parts of the federal government. But the problem is nobody wants to do that because they know that U.S. citizens generally enjoy those programs, and so they're too cowardly to actually cut many of those programs. So that's one way to do it, is to cut programs. The second way to do it is to keep the programs the same size, but to continue to grow the economy. And Trump is doing the exact opposite of both of those. Our economy is contracting right now because he's destroying faith in the USD and faith in the United States at large across the world. True. And because we're reducing our tax receipts, our revenue, by way of tax cuts, with the Trump tax cuts and job tax. So again, if we were ever going to have a conversation on the debt, on the deficit, I think that we could have that conversation, but now we're even further from having that conversation because we're fixated on whatever Doge is or whatever this is. We're not going to, like, if the deficit, the budget deficit, and of course the deficit growth stays the same, will you admit that it was an utter failure? Okay.
Yeah. And just,
well, at least we asked the question. Do you really think?
To be clear, Stephen, I mean, I was thinking that very well, but you know, when you say like conservative or Republican, I consider myself neither of those. I know you're not necessarily saying I am, but we're addressing a party that's not in the room, and I'm not here to argue on their behalf. What I'm saying is that there's a problem that needs to be addressed, and the way that the first solution that you propose, which is that you propose programmatic adjustments, we've tried that, and it hasn't worked.
No, Republicans aren't trying that.
No, Republicans and Democrats don't do that.
Democrats do try, but Republicans are half of Congress.
And all of Congress doesn't do it, and we don't accomplish it, and it doesn't seem to matter who has the majority. It doesn't get done.
Because
Obama tried to do this too.
trying.
He tried to make cuts. It was like trivial cuts on the margin, shutting down old websites. At the end of the day, what's happened is clearly our government by itself is not sufficient to actually solve this problem. We need a creative approach to solve this problem, which is hopefully we can agree undoubtedly creative.
Like he's the shotgun. It's the shotgun. Like I just want to, if I just pump my friend, okay, full of fucking buckshot, all right, like that's at least that we're trying something. Like,
some clear downsides. What I agree with is public speak slow down to this. Constantly arguing on X about whether a program should be cut. All the problems.
who was the last person who bounced? Can I bring that up?
Around it is sad, unnecessary, and distracting. So that's why for me, it's like I'm not willing to get an A because the messaging has been so politicized and
I'm not willing to give it an A because they were too political. You mean the organization that was headed by the guy who bought a social media platform to support Donald Trump? It was too political, really?
So hyperbolic. But we need something different. And you're saying
so it's not even a result. He just wouldn't give them an A because the messaging was too. Like, come on, dude.
The Republicans won't get in line. To me, neither house seems to be getting in line with this because no cuts are not popular because yes, many Americans like these programs that we have and no one likes to have things taken away. And what I've seen, to your point about programs getting cut, that's what Doge has been doing. Now, if we have a disagreement on whether these programs that have been cut should be cut, I think it's a healthy discussion to have. Like, we can talk about USAID, whether that should be removed. We talk about the departments that have been downsized. We talk about Health and Human Services getting rid of 2,000 employees. All these things are reasonable discussions to have. But what I don't think is a reasonable discussion to have is discussions about whether it's the Democrats or the Republicans and talking about these hypotheticals where all the Congress people get together and solve, because it just hasn't been working. And frankly, as an American taxpayer and someone who's been observing government from the outside for years now, it's like I'm just glad that we're trying to do that.
I mean, like, this is the Republicans throwing their hands up, and it's the meme comic of we've tried nothing and we're all out of ideas. If Republicans want to govern, the country's here to be governed, but as long as half the country
True.
Is just having an epic time following Trump into, you know, whatever abyss they're having to follow him into. Nothing is going to get done. Like, none of the Doge stuff is probably going to get solidified by Congress. Most of the people in Congress are not happy with any of the suggested cuts. It's just nothing. Like, when Republicans decide, okay, well, we have to actually come together and we need to start writing legislation, then something will get done. It's not a both sides issue. Democrats are able to pass regular legislation. The economy and the budget, both, so fiscally and the economy, tend to do better on the Democrat. True. Every time the Democrat comes back into office, they have to waste the first year or two trying to bail them out of whatever catastrophe the last Republican got them into. When Obama came in, it was trying to recover from the housing crisis. When Biden came in, it was recovering from COVID. And then afterwards, you get a Republican who came in. Look, you've got Donald Trump coming in now. He came in off of Obama's heated economy and tried to take credit for the economy growing out of that, even though Trump added record levels to the debt and deficit. And now Trump has come in after the economy was doing great under Biden. We were dominating OECD and G7 like in every possible way. And now he's like managed to cause an economic contraction after a quarter. It's frustrating to see.
An enemy has been slain.
Obviously, I'm biased towards my way of speaking, okay? But like, this, look at the density and facts here, okay? Right? Now, I'm not saying that everybody has to speak like a fucking autistic wizard, okay? But like, look at the density of facts, okay? This is my argument, okay? This is what's happened. This, okay? What's your argument? Well, directionally, I think it's good that in the social sphere we're having conversations about the conversations are bad because they're doing A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and we've already seen the past story. Okay, but like,
a Democrat comes in and has to clean up after the last Republican. The last budget deficit, or I'm sorry, the last budget surplus we had was under Clinton, was under a Democrat. It's just frustrating. The Democrats to come in, clean up the mess. The Republicans come in, they make more and more of a mess. They spend like crazy, and then everybody goes, "Wow, both parties in the United States sure are messed up right now." Like that blows my mind.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really want to make this a partisan conversation, but I think the framing of
I don't really want a partisan conversation. We're talking about politics. How do we fix the fucking problem? We have two sides to vote for. You vote with the Republicans, we vote with the Democrats. What do you mean we're not going to be partisan? How do we not have a conversation about about which side can alleviate the problems better?
Republicans mess it up and then Democrats clean it up. I don't think that's accurate at all. I mean, even if we talk about Clinton creating this surplus, he inherited the conditions for surplus to create, and for sure he stewarded that. But those the deregulation efforts that created the economy.
I don't think I bring this up, but he inherited the conditions where surplus was created. So did Donald Trump. That's why it happened his first term, and he fucked up his second term. And it only happened his first term because the deep state, meaning all the bureaucrats he was too retarded to remove, kept the fucking system running on rails. And in the second time, the guardrails were broke, and now we're in fucking retardsville, okay? Where everybody's talking about we are gonna have 135% tariffs on China, or whether or not Donald Trump is gonna have fucking prima nocta, he's gonna fuck all of our new wives, okay? That's the conversation we have in the United States right now.
By the time he entered office and early when he entered office, that was instantiated by Reagan. So if we're gonna say that, oh well, it's the Democrats just inherit messes and then they spend the first few years cleaning things up, I don't think that's true. In Bush's case, I think that was true because I think Bush was one of the worst presidents of all time, and I think Obama had to recover from Bush, and we saw the housing crisis.
And Trump inherited Obama's economy and took credit for it and massively spent. He did a huge.
I did bring it up. Oh my god, yes. Oh, I love watching myself debate, and I know all the examples now too. Oh god, yes, good job. Good point. Okay, sorry.
Of all time, and I think Obama had to recover from Bush, and we saw the housing crisis.
And Trump inherited Obama's economy and took credit for it and massively spent. He did a huge tax cut without pairing it with any spending cuts.
And they all spend, right?
And they all spend. Donald Trump spent the most.
Republicans spend more.
Yes. I'm pretty sure in
Bush on both wars and Trump.
In point of fact, I'm pretty sure Biden actually spent more than Trump. Now, obviously, those are blacks.
Only because of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act.
It's one event in COVID.
Say it.
And that,
no,
yeah,
say it.
Biden had all of COVID. Trump only had.
Donald Trump's budget deficits were already the highest in all of U.S. history before COVID. Before COVID.
Part of COVID, but I'm pretty sure.
Most of the extra spending under Biden was because of the tax cuts
and Jobs Act,
the Trump Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that they're trying to renew now. Like all of the interest from the debt and then all of the extra, basically lost revenue from that was passed from Trump that was carried over into Biden's admin.
Yeah, but we can't do this thing where Republicans are not responsible for any success that they ride the tailwinds of, and Democrats are not responsible for any failures that they have to ride the headwinds of.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I can point to measurable Republican failures over and over again.
Yeah, but I'm saying you say Trump inherited Obama's economy. I'm like, yeah, he stewarded the economy that he had. It didn't go off a cliff, and there's something to be said for that. And similarly, Clinton did the
economy. He overheated it, and then they cried about inflation a few years later. He came in under Obama, and the markets went from growing 10-15% a year to 20-25% a year for 3 years, and he did that. So deficit spending. And he was cool. Yeah, he did it. By cutting all these taxes and not paying any government cuts, and then the same problem now is coming into the customer
Well, I would say in the case of pre-COVID, we're not that effective post-COVID. And I will say,
why would you? But
an ally has been
if your economy's running well, that's your time to raise money. Everybody's doing well, so
okay. This one was actually my fault. Okay, this one was actually my fault.
Why? We're already doing fine. Pump the brakes a little bit, Chief, and collect some money.
Say to Biden's credit, I think he inherited a really difficult situation and prevented it from going completely off of a cliff.
He didn't just prevent it from going off the cliff. He sailed us over that cliff, okay, on a fucking airship.
Again, when we say, oh, well, if we talk about what level of confidence that we can have that Trump is able to resolve the deficit given that he didn't do it the first time.
Yeah, you're right. I do miss that. I don't know why I didn't correct him on that. Clinton did not come after Reagan. Clinton came after a one-term president. because Bush was just one term, right? Like, so, yeah.
The first time, I'm not confident that he was even trying. I think he was taking the economy that he had and trying to add more gas to it, and he did that until
I should have corrected him on that.
point where it was no longer a viable option per COVID. And when we say that, well, Trump is inheriting an economy that was booming under Biden, I don't think that was experienced with a lot of Americans on the ground. I mean, yeah, I guess equities were doing well, and I guess some of the top line was looking really good, but a lot of the reason why Trump got elected in the first place is because the average American, the cost of their groceries and their gas and their eggs, and the things that they actually experience on a day-to-day basis were going up. And then over the longer term, the cost of houses were going up because interest rates were so high too. So even this framing of, oh, well, he inherited this booming economy, I guess it depends on what you call economy, but the actual economic experience of the average American was not good under Biden, and that's exactly why Trump got elected. And so, again, I'm just talking about the fundamental
And now they're like, actually, we'll pay even more prices as long as it's American-made and we're...
things were good, and then Trump either came in and he rode that high, or he messed it up after things were good. I think it's demonstrably not what happened last year.
I mean, I think you can look at literally any economic indicator, and every single thing on paper will agree with the assertion I'm making. And I just want to say it's a fantastic way to frame Trump's first 4 years, saying they would not because he wasn't even trying. He was the president.
I would say
Trump didn't even try the first 4 years. It's 4 years. He wasn't even trying. That's not an excuse that you use when you're the president. That's the excuse when you lose to your girlfriend in foosball, okay? What do you mean I wasn't even trying?
It wasn't a priority. Like, as I recall, debt and deficit were not as much of a priority. And I don't think it's been, honestly, a big priority for any president in terms of...
Okay, I can't watch this. Listen, that's on that one. That's watch it if you want. Sorry.
Hey guys, this embodies voice of Dangerous here, and I'm a little sick, so if I sound nasally, deal with it. Listen, about a month and a half ago, I posted a clip of...
Your team has destroyed a turret. Your team has destroyed an inhibitor. Your team has destroyed a turret.
Yes, jungle diff enemy says, as I'm getting constantly flamed. I mean, rightfully so, but like holy shit. Just like shut the fuck up. Don't type. Don't type in the fucking chat, dude. Don't type. All right, well, that's about all the energy I have for now. So we'll call that a day. Holy fuck. All right.